I've lit a candle this time. I'm going to be really careful because it's kind of on fire and I kind of wanted to show you, but it might fall over. Ah. It kind of does smell like a uni girl's dorm room because of who vapes like very heavily, but I like my candles. I like my room smelling nice and I like them not falling over. Fucking hell. Be good. That's it. Right. On to the topic at hand. Why 90% of OnlyFans creators waste Twitter slash X as a platform and what the top 10% do. Now, if you've been on Twitter for a while, obviously you're gonna know how the platform works in general. But if not, I'm gonna lay out the landscape from my perspective to let you know kind of how it works, how it differs from other social medias, and kind of to help you get a grasp of it, right? Obviously Twitter's a big social media. You're not gonna come across many social medias nowadays that aren't just endless scrolling. Instagram, you've got fucking reel, post, reel. Same with TikTok, video. Twitter, I'm gonna call it Twitter from here on out, is basically the same. There's no end. You just keep going. Whether it's on your following, you're gonna run out if you don't follow many people. But still, for your on your for you page, you just and you never run out. Never run out. Can be used to your advantage, but we'll get onto that in a sec. Or we may not. We'll see what tangents I get up to. Uh, on Twitter, small communities get together and talk, and these come in the form of interest. So, for example, Twitter sees what you're interested in straight away and it detects it. If you search up the football, it's going to show you football. If you follow loads of football pages and you like a bunch of football pages stuff, you're going to get a bunch of football stuff. And Twitter's going to be like, hey, this person, you really like football. We're going to show you more football stuff. Pay attention to that because as an OnlyFans creator, you do fall under one of the categories, and depending on your branding, there's a keyword on Twitter for basically every type of branding. So if you involve yourself with football, a bunch of football people are gonna like your posts and like I don't know Manchester City or PSG's posts, and then not Instagram, Twitter is gonna associate you slowly but surely with football, and eventually you're gonna show up on football people's feeds. Side note, I think this is a theory. This isn't confirmed, but this is from what my observations are. Twitter can't recommend you porn on your For You page. So, that being said, you're only going to see straight up porn if you're following a person. You go into your following page. If you don't know Twitter already, obviously there's the For You page and there's the following. If you go into your following, you can see porn. If you go on the For You page, you cannot see it. There's no like pussy, tits out, everything. Or at least it's very hard to because sex, porn, and other stuff don't. There's no group of interests for that. So therefore, Twitter can't recommend it. So you can't just associate yourself with sex. You have to associate with yourself with something else, which I'll get into in a sec. I know that for a fact because I've got the script here. Um, and now that you know that there's the For You page and the following page, going through it, you'll see that half of it is text, half of it is media. There's some people, replying to other tweets, writing out text tweets, some people just posting a picture then with a short caption. It's a big mix of them all. And as such, a lot of successful people get away with posting, you know, a mix of them. You can't just rely on one or the other. You kind of have to do both. That's a given, though. It's a very easy way of operating. And one thing that you will have observed, especially if you're on the OnlyFans side of Twitter, is that it is swarming with bots. Swarming. When you post an OnlyFans link, for example, you'll have a bunch of other like bots. This is really common. A bunch of other bots in the comment section saying, "Hey, post it on here, post it on here, post it on here," because there are like a trillion agents, not agencies, but people out there who will try to. Well, they have bots set up so that they can comment under your OnlyFans link, so that you post on their shit because you feel like it's going to get you actual real connections. This is not the exception. Twitter is swarming with bots that are run by agencies and models as well. you'll see it's not so common, but there are agencies who run like hundreds, if not thousands, of just spam accounts. So you spam everywhere. That's your competition. They're not that good at it. The most high converting Twitter operators don't run that. They're actually good at content and they're actually good at promoting themselves. But it's still competition. It's still annoying, and that's the playing field of Twitter. That being said, who actually wins on Twitter? Probably the most important question, right? 90% of people just end up having no views, they keep getting shadow banned. Who actually wins? The formula to it really is the more attention that you get from bigger groups of people or bigger pages, the more you win, and the more followers that you get, and the more you win, right? This is contrary to popular belief because a lot of people feel like if I just keep posting and I get to the For You page, eventually it'll hit. And it happens. Posting consistently is what a lot of people will tell you to do, but it's not the key. You can't guarantee hitting the For You page, even if you post 1,000 times. 1,000 times, 10,000 times, that's not gonna guarantee you getting on the For You page because there are trillions of Twitter, maybe not trillions, but a lot of Twitter accounts that have already done that are nowhere near the For You page. Never even broken like maybe 500 views. That's the way of it. So what you can guarantee though over time is attention from bigger pages or bigger groups of users of the platform. That's how you get real attention. And now that you know that, how do you actually get the attention? It's easier said than done. One quick way, I'll just quick fire. I dropped my phone. I'll just quick fire off a few ideas for you so that you know. It's not really quick fire, I will go into detail, but the first of which is paid promos. So you'll find that a lot of people try to reach out to you on Twitter, potentially on Telegram, potentially on wherever it may be, saying, hey, do you want a paid promo? And what these people will usually do, and this is why I don't run paid promos with random people, is that they'll have a Twitter account which looks legit from the outside. You look at it, they've got 50,000 followers. They're posting quite a lot, and their views are fairly high. 100,000 to a million views. You can see that they've run other promos and other for other models, and those have been successful too. On a surface level view. And what I found out from buying paid promos from these guys, they're like $100. They're not great. Is that these guys bought their accounts? So fake followers, fake views, fake likes, well, fake engagement, really, and it usually doesn't work. This isn't to say that paid promos don't work at all. If you can find a genuine page, which through potentially connections, I mean, I've run paid promos with some meme pages before that are legit, and I've worked with other actually known big creators before. Having a paid promo through these guys will work for sure. I don't want to say for sure. There's no guarantees in the space, but I'm just saying that's one way to get eyeballs on your content because that page already has genuine viewers. They're not fucking like Indian or Pakistani like bots. They're actual people who actually view the actual page because they post actual content. You get legit views. But when you're considering paid promos, tread very lightly and try not to, or at least try to find out exactly who is posting your stuff. Because you don't want to spend money just like throwing shit out there just so robots can view your content. Robots don't get you paid. Don't get you paid. Next one, communities. I ran this before last year, and it still works to this day. Communities still work because obviously you have to join them manually. They're not on your For You page unless you join them. That's a lie. You can get communities on your For You page, but most of the time, most people who are getting community posts on your For You page have joined them before, and there's quite a few for just OnlyFans promotion, sex stuff, horny stuff. There's plenty of them. they tend to have more active viewers and more users and more not only active but engaging. They actually click the profiles. They actually like stuff because they're there because they're genuinely horny. They're not bots. They're not just scrolling through Twitter for the sake of it. They're actually looking for something, which is why communities can work. However, there's loads of competition, and a lot of communities are either run by people who already have an agency, or they're taken over and monopolized by bots. Not necessarily bots, but people who have a lot of spam accounts. Um, and that makes the competition quite hard, especially as maintaining the attention from a community only lasts maybe a day maximum. It has a system. I think I can't remember off the top of my head, but the first page, it's like hot. The hot page, that might be that's what it is for Reddit. I don't remember what it's called on Twitter, but basically they rank the posts based on how recent they are and how many views they have. And some the higher that you spend, the longer that you spend higher up on the list, the more people will click your profile. Obviously, but it doesn't last so long. So to be able to maintain communities, you have to be posting basically every single day, and at that point, you have to make sure that you don't get shadow banned. You have to make sure that um, that's pretty much it. Shadow banning is the main concern here, but there's no guarantees. It's kind of like hitting your For You page, where there's no guarantees that you post something to the community and then it works. But the guarantee is that posting to a community will get you slightly more views than your For You page, hopefully, because you post it to your actual profile as well as the community. So you have the potential for it to be on people's For You page as well as in a community. It's only a slight boost, but it can, if you do it really well with, like, say 3 accounts. I'm going to get onto that in a sec. 3 accounts, 3 accounts, and you post on multiple communities. You keep staying at the top of it, you will get a decent amount of traffic. That's how I hit my first 10K month. Last year, I basically had 2 concurrent Twitter accounts at the top of the biggest communities for a few like weeks straight. I would get a bunch of traffic in through free trial, and it's not sustainable because obviously, well, it is sustainable if you keep at it and the accounts don't get stale. But chances are you're gonna have to keep refreshing accounts. You're gonna have to keep on top of your game for it to be sustainable. That's just communities, though. Obviously, it's not going to be the only thing that you run on Twitter. Next point would be actually good comment baiting. If you're not familiar with the concept of comment baiting, what it essentially is you find a post which has loads of views, hopefully is a recent post, hopefully by a bigger page, not necessarily by a bigger page, but just has loads of views, and you put something underneath it that should gain people's attention. Now, the lazy people post a picture of their model and hopefully hope that it works. But actually, good comment baiting is supposed to draw attention from the people who are watching the post. For example, and this is one of my favorite ones, going to a red pill page and rage baiting the red pillars, because obviously they hate OnlyFans girls, right? The more enraged that you can make them, the more engagement they're going to give you. Any publicity is good publicity. If they are pissed off because of you, at least they're giving you comments. At least they're looking at your profile to piss you off. That feeds Twitter's algorithm. So, good comment baiting over time, if you actually put effort into it, will get you views and will actually boost your profile visits, which is one of the more important metrics when it comes to Twitter. Adjust my light. Hello. And it ties on very nicely onto my next point, which is look for confrontation. Look for confrontation head on. What I mean by this is you literally calling out other people, even if it's just to fabricate beef. I'm going to take a water break. It's delicious. Stay hydrated. when you're looking for confrontation from bigger pages, you want to do it with bigger pages, right? Because obviously there's no point of beefing someone who's lower than you. They just get more engagement. You want to do that by, again, with one of the examples that I had, rage baiting with the Red Bull people, rage baiting someone like, I'm not saying go after these people, obviously, but Myron Gaines, Psychomath slash Homath, um, that kind of page where people are basically ready to jump at you if you say something about them, and they're actually willing to reply. That's why I said like people like Andrew Tate probably won't reply to you, but Myron Homath will probably reply to you. If you can rage bait those people and try to directly like make a post about them or constantly be in their replies trying to call them out for something, their fan base will get on you, and potentially they might get on you. Any publicity is good publicity. If you can steal some of their audience, fucking perfect. That is perfect. Amazing. That's what I mean by direct confrontation. And that's what Twitter's for. A lot of Twitter beef, and I know you've heard the term Twitter beef before, a lot of Twitter beef is actually very productive. Now that you know how people actually win on Twitter, we're going to move on to the actual execution of it, because I'm just telling you the methodology of, okay, go onto Twitter and do this. There's more to it than that. I would start off with 3 accounts maximum per model. So if you're a model yourself, obviously run 3 accounts from the same phone. You don't need to worry about getting multiple phones or anything, or changing your IP using a proxy or whatever it may be. You don't need to overthink it. Just run 3 accounts. And obviously do the things that I said. Just keep comment baiting. Treat one account as your main account, and this would be, out of the 3 accounts, you're gonna keep posting and doing stuff on them. Hopefully, one of them will stand out as the main, highest performing one. Treat that as your main one. Funnel in from, what I mean by funnel is obviously like add a link or something. Funnel in from your other 2 accounts into that main account. Keep your link there. Make sure that you don't get shadow banned on all 3 of these accounts. Easier said than done, I know, but it's 3 accounts. You're not running 20. And over time, traffic will come in. That being said, Twitter has a weird way of operating when it comes to accounts. I've witnessed this after testing out, I think, almost 100 accounts for one model. And this is the same with Threads. If you've ever run Threads, you'll understand that there's a degree of luck to it. Twitter has a weird way of selecting which accounts should be pushed out to For You page, or standing out in communities, or wherever it may be, in comment sections as well. And it's literally a matter of luck. Either you can wait it out, and it's going to be slow. You can wait it out with the 3 accounts that I told you can make. Wait it out, keep doing the stuff, keep rage baiting people, keep comment baiting, keep posting communities. Wait it out, and all 3 accounts should start slowly but surely building up, and you'll actually see some tangible results. Or you can try to brute force it and cycle accounts, so swapping out the underperforming accounts like once every week or 2 weeks with a new account, and hopefully this one is more lucky and hits the For You page easier. You can try that. That's kind of the less patient game, but you can still do it. Like, it's possible. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm leaving the option there for you. Yeah. That being said, you need to remember the difference between winning on Twitter and winning on OnlyFans. Because at the end of the day, you are an OnlyFans creator. You're not a Twitter creator. You are just creating on Twitter for the sake of funneling them to OnlyFans. So remember, funnel is king. What I mean by that is you need to remember that every single person who views your Twitter is going to travel from one of your posts to your profile. Actually, I'll do it from here. No, bottom funnel. One of your posts to your Twitter page, to your bio, to the link, to the link tree, to the OnlyFans, to subscribing. Every single one of those steps is part of the journey that your would-be subscriber goes through. You need to remember that, and you need to remember that That's the most important part that you need to track. You don't need to track anything like follows. That doesn't matter. Likes. That doesn't matter. Comments. Retweets. None of that matters. All that matters really is your OnlyFans subscribers. And to track that, you kind of need to know how many people click your links. So link clicks is very important, and profile visits. These are the only three that really matter. The rest are kind of cosmetic metrics. You don't need them for your operation. They're cool, but you don't need them. So again, link clicks, profile visits, OnlyFans subs. Preferably have a link, like a tracking link in there, and that will tell you exactly how good your Twitter operation is going. That being said, you need to feed your funnel with stuff. So once you get the attention from, say, a bigger page, say fucking, I don't know, Myron wants to he quotes your tweet and says something about you being a 304. You want to basically, you've got maybe like a 48-hour window to milk as much of that attention as possible. What do? You reply directly underneath the quote saying, "Oh, that's cool, but my OnlyFans is free," or "That's cool, but my OnlyFans is like $3. Here's a picture of me." Da 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 da. You're gonna, what you do once you get the attention is relentlessly just sell, sell, sell. You've got the attention for maybe 48 hours. You're not going to be able to ride out that Myron hype forever. You will not. What you can do is, as soon as people are seeing your something related to you, because you've basically just pikeyed off, you've stolen the attention from Myron's audience, just sell. Literally just sell, sell, sell. This is actually the time where the content on your page is most important, right? Because as soon as people are laying eyes on your page, you know what, when you get pretty privilege. Let me give you an example. When Luigi Mangione shot that CEO, he got a lot of it was mostly TikTok people, but he was like, they were like, "Oh well, he's pretty, just let him off, like this and that, this and that. He shouldn't be facing such a harsh jail sentence, whatever it is." Um, that kind of exists everywhere, and how that applies here is that if you're rage baiting Myron, I need to stop saying his name. He's actually a very cool guy. If you're rage baiting anyone and their followers go to your page and the content there is shit, they are just gonna pile on. They're just gonna be like, "Oh well, uh, you're a hoe. Fuck you for saying this. Why would you say that? You're ugly anyways. No one subscribes to your OnlyFans." However, you can flip that on its head. The amount of people that will completely change their opinion just because your content is good, not just because you're hot, but because your content is actually good. Like your pin post is you in a fucking bikini, and like it's a really good angle, and the lighting is good, so it shows your ass off, and your profile picture is you smiling or whatever, and it's a really good selfie, and again the lighting's really good. All of that stuff. If all of that is optimized, you will be surprised at the amount of people that change their opinions straight away. From going from, "Oh well, your OnlyFans is shit and no one buys it, and I can't believe you're doing this," and they'll change their opinion from that into, uh, "Well, you did say this. It's a bit of a controversial statement. Nice tits, though. Ooh, she has an OnlyFans. $3. It's not that much. Subscriber." The amount, the sheer power of the content being on your page at that specific moment when you get a bunch of attention on your posts is, I couldn't tell you how powerful it is. It's the make or break. You can have 1 million people watch your page, and if 1 million people don't think you're hot, 0 people would subscribe to your OnlyFans. Simple as that. So you need to present yourself, build up your page with the content, not necessarily so that your content will blow up, but you will blow up, and your content comes with you, and your content tells people, "Hey, I'm kind of hot. Go on OnlyFans. Go subscribe." That's what your content is really for, I feel like. Don't think about hitting the For You page with your titty pics or whatever it is. Use your content strictly for presentation. Think of it as like a portfolio or like a resume. That's my philosophy on it anyways. You can still use it for like, retweet groups and stuff. I'd suggest doing that on an alt account. Again, side detail. That's not the most important thing. I do believe it is a way for you to get more attention, but it's not organic, and it only scales so much. It works for some people. Tangent. Again, your profile's a resume. Just make sure it looks good. That being said, I'm going to wrap this up saying you have to have your priorities in check. And remember that Twitter is never going to be more important than your OnlyFans. Your OnlyFans is what's more important. It doesn't matter if you can't get shadow banned on OnlyFans, but you can get suspended. I would much rather, and you would much rather, that your OnlyFans doesn't get suspended over your Twitter getting suspended, especially if you have 3 accounts. Completely fine. Just let Twitter be a vessel to get traffic to your OnlyFans. Never think of it as anything more. Never think of it as you being a Twitter celebrity, unless you want to be a Twitter celebrity, of course. You can do that if you want, but getting a VA to comment bait for you completely leaves that off. Like you don't need to bother with Twitter. Like I said before, it's just follows, views and likes. It don't matter. They don't matter. It's just Twitter. None of that's gonna earn you money. What really matters is profile visits, link clicks, and OnlyFans subscribers. In the end, because up until that point, you remember that funnel I showed you before? There is no point here that makes you money. You've made $0 until they click subscribe. And on that note, that's what the top 10% of Twitter users do. OnlyFans Twitter users. And give it time. Twitter is a very snowballing kind of, the more you do it over time, compounding interest kind of platform. The longer that you spend on it, the more you stick to your principles, the less you try to do funky shit, and the more you try to rage bait people and get people's attention, the better. I've got a Telegram group in the description of this video. I've got a channel for more info. If you're a model, DM me again. Link is still there. Remember, if he thinks you're handsome, you better pay your ransom. See you in the next one.